Okay, emotional literacy, lesson number 6, lesson number 22 in the book. This is one where we get a little more intellectual and technical. It's more of a long-term project, but you're going to start students on some tools that may help them tremendously. Okay, called precision with feelings, thoughts, and judgments. We start with the opening question. We make a distinction between feelings and thoughts, feelings with hidden judgments, and finally, feelings and observation practice. It's a big one. Most of this is from nonviolent communication, so it has a history and background in some really transformational work. Okay, opening question. What's the difference between a feeling and a thought? That might not be something most students can answer, but again, we're just opening that conversation up, and then it leads to activity 2, feelings and thoughts. Say, sometimes people say they are feeling something, but they're actually expressing a thought. For example, I feel you shouldn't have said that. I feel like going outside. I feel I am worse than everyone at this. In any of these examples, are there feelings in there? Now, you might want to, from the beginning, say, it's a common expression to say these things as feelings, and you don't have to change that, but just notice that the feelings aren't actually there, that they're actually thoughts. And it's going to be important for not just an intellectual reason, but for a practical reason in a moment. You said, hey, I feel this is ridiculous. I'm not sure if that's a feeling or a thought. And I put that illustration there for a reason, because as especially in nonviolent communication, that community, you don't want to use this knowledge that there's a difference between feeling and thought to actually dismiss somebody else, which is actually worse than trying to make that distinction. And that happens with adults. So let's not have it happen with students as well. Okay, so say, there is nothing wrong with these statements, right? So it's not a big deal. But they're not expressing feelings, so distinguishing that. To be more precise, we can replace the word feeling with think, and it would be more accurate to say, I think you shouldn't have said that, or I think I want to go outside, or I think I'm worse than everyone at this. Again, you don't have to. It's just a way to be clear about what's the thought and what's feeling, which will be important in a moment. Number 3, say, or you could express the feeling and the thought, which is actually gets a little deeper. I feel upset, and you shouldn't have said that. Or I feel hyper, I want to go outside. I feel upset, and I think I'm worse than everyone at this. Now you're getting at the skill to help students with conflict resolution. Because in general, when you can express a feeling that's not an actual judgment on somebody else, you're going to build a better chance you're going to create a better chance at dialogue. But you can only do that if you distinguish feeling from thought, which most people cannot do, kids or adults. Okay, so then ask, which of these statements are feelings and which are thoughts and why? So you ask the class. In general, I make this a class exercise, not a group exercise, because it's so new, it's better to do it as a class. And I say, I feel that something is going to happen. Is that a feeling or a thought? It's really a thought. I feel anxious. Okay, there's a feeling about the test tomorrow. I am excited about the new version of 2K. I feel you are annoying. I feel you're annoying. That's tricky. It looks like it's feeling, but it's actually a thought. And I am on my last nerve. And again, it's fine to say all these things. I am on my last nerve absolutely expresses a level of a feeling. It's just you want to get students, in terms of communication, to be clear about what's a feeling, what's not. Okay, ask, how would you translate the statements that are thoughts into feelings? So you can do the opposite. So if you say, I am on my last nerve, you might then translate to say, I am worried. No, I wouldn't say worried. I'm bothered, and I'm bothered, and I'm feeling bothered, and I'm on my last nerve. Yeah, that would be the way to translate that. Okay, ask, why might it be useful to be precise with the language of feelings? Sometimes they'll say things, but usually they won't know. You can answer for them. You can say, when you can name a feeling, you develop more self-connection. That's definitely true. When you separate a feeling from a thought, it's easier for other people to empathize with your experience. Absolutely true. Not always true, but it can. And nobody can argue. I love this. Nobody can argue with the feeling. To express to students, so many arguments happen because you're judging without even knowing you're judging. But if you express a feeling, there's no argument there. They can argue with a thought or a judgment, but not the feeling. Then say, this is not an invitation to correct anyone else's mode of talking about feelings. Again, that illustration. We're not going there, right? It's not an invitation to correct anyone else's mode of talking about feelings. Few people like to have their feelings corrected, even the feelings may not actually be feelings. So that's just, you don't want students going home and then telling their parents, hey, what you're saying is not a feeling. That's not going to be great for the program. Okay, so that introduces this concept. The reflection is, when will it be most useful for you to separate feelings from thoughts? And they'll need practice with this. And teacher note, this distinction may seem like a minor semantic adjustment, but the language distinction is crucial for future lessons in communication. Many conflicts start unconsciously by using judgmental language that is disconnected from feelings. For more nonviolent communication, NYCNVC.org is my organization. I don't own it, it's the one I'm part of. And but anything with NVC has a lot to say about this. Okay, we're going to head to activity number 3. Again, feelings with hidden judgments, another tricky subject area. Okay, say here, when you state a feeling, you're expressing an experience that is only about you. So that can be useful. There are some commonly used feelings, words that aren't just about you, but are actually judging someone else. And we're going to give these feelings a different name. Okay, so people, we'll see. When you say, for example, I feel disrespected, or I feel ignored, I feel criticized, that looks like a feeling, but what comes out when you say, hey, I feel disrespected? You're judging someone else. I feel ignored. You're telling someone else, hey, pay attention to me. I feel criticized. You're telling someone else, you're criticizing me. So there's a whole list of feelings that we call feelings with hidden judgments. They're not just feelings. You don't have to make this distinction, but it can be useful, because when you have an expressive feeling that has a hidden judgment, it's going to cause conflict. I know everyone's had that experience, and we want students to start being aware of that and how conflict can get unresolved just by simply saying, I feel disrespected. Okay, or any hidden judgment. Say, these feelings are expressing a judgment about what someone else is doing to them. It's a hard concept. These feelings can be renamed feeling with judgments. Say, these feelings are not wrong or bad, but they do contain judgments that can affect communication. Most people don't like to be judged, right? Everybody can relate to that. If you're able to communicate the feeling without judgment, you're expressing vulnerability, and more likely to be hurt. So these are key expressions. You're expressing vulnerability, so students will connect to that. When you say feel disrespected, there's a feeling of a wall, right? Or feel ignored, I feel criticized. There's a wall there. But when you express vulnerability, you're more likely to be heard. And this is just something students need to practice. We're not good at it. Now, is it true always? No. Sometimes you express vulnerability and people pour more hate on you, right? So it's not always useful, but especially with good friends, it can be super useful to be more vulnerable. And you can say that. Try it. Okay, say, we are going to separate feelings that have judgments into feelings and observations. So that's what we do. We take the feelings that have judgments, and now we say the same, we express the feeling, and we use observational language. Also, super difficult skill, needs lots and lots of practice. For example, the statement, I feel disrespected, can be translated to, I feel upset, that's the feeling, because you rolled your eyes at me. You rolled your eyes at me is the observation. Another example. The statement, I feel ignored, can be translated to, I feel mad, that's the feeling, because you walked right by me and didn't say hi. Okay, you're getting observational. Every human needs more practice at this, right? I know, it's not so easy. The statement, I feel criticized, can be translated to, I feel confused because you said it was my fault. All right, they're going to need a lot of practice with this, guys. Divide the class into groups of 4 to 5 students. Say, translate the following feelings with judgments into feelings and observations. Write the following feelings in a place visible to everyone. I feel you can do this as a class, but it's so difficult. I would do it in small groups and let them work it out. Okay, feelings that place visible everywhere. So I feel betrayed. That is a feeling with a hidden judgment. I feel bullied. Again, same thing. I feel cheated. I feel overworked. I feel used. At the end, say, what is the value of expressing feelings with judgment in a different way? They will just be introduced to this concept. It will make a huge difference in their lives. And finally, we get some practice. Activity 4. Feelings and observation practice. Instruction 1, divide students into groups of 4 to 5 students. Ask each student to come up with a statement in response to each scenario. The statement must have a feeling and observation. That's the practice, right? Okay, scenario 1, you've noticed a friend refused to share their dessert. Gets me upset, but they have enough to share. I'm still upset about that. Have someone skipped you in line. You answered a question from your teacher incorrectly. You forgot your best friend's birthday. You realize your homework doesn't make sense. Okay, have each group share their feeling statements. Again, feeling and observation, first with each other, and then you can share that with the entire class. Lastly, when would you use feelings and observations? And for homework, try it, right? Notice first the use of feelings that have hidden judgments. It's all over the place. And then try responding to a situation by expressing a feeling and observation. Have the students just try it once. Just try it once, right? And say, and then what happened?